Good afternoon to one and all. It's my proud moment to welcome our alumni, architect Rishabh Wadhwa. He graduated from School of Architecture and Design, Manipal University, Jaipur. Today, he works as a successful content creator and runs a popular YouTube channel titled Blazed Arch, where he talks about the different facets within and surrounding the field of architecture, art, and design. Today, he will be presenting on alternative careers after architecture. The course of architecture is of 5 years long and teaches a lot of things. But during the course, a lot of students realize that they do not wish to pursue architecture after its completion, as Rishabh is exactly doing. And today, in the 21st century, the skill sets of an architect can be applied to a lot of other fields, and even the field of architecture has become so diverse that new careers within it have emerged. In this talk, Rishabh will talk about alternative careers available to students to pursue after pursuing BArch. Over to Rishabh. Thank you, Rishabh, for accepting to present in our alma mater.
Thank you for inviting me, ma'am. It's a great honor. Just a second. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to do this seminar on alternative careers after architecture. As ma'am said, I am one of the people who, after pursuing architecture, realized that maybe there was more that I could do uh, apart from this field. Even though I love the field of architecture, I love learning about new things. All the way through college, a lot of my favorite subjects were subjects where you got to learn about new buildings, new cities, and I really love that. So, but again, I realized after I finished the course that maybe my interests lie somewhere else. So before I start with alternative careers after architecture, let me tell you just a little bit about me. So my name is Rishabh Wadhwa, and I work as a content creator, as a media head for Trip Machine Company. It is a company around motorcycle lifestyle. And I also have a YouTube channel called Blessed Duck, where I make videos related to architecture, to help. I do make videos to help out students about different things that they could do or study within the field, news. I also make videos on buildings, on cities. So things that I was really passionate about, I make videos related to that. All right. So let's come to alternative careers after architecture. But first, let's just ask ourselves, why must we look for alternative careers? So as ma'am had said in the introduction as well, architecture is a 5-year long course. You join this course when you're 18 years old. And within those 5 years, of course, you learn about the many facets of architecture, but you also grow as a person and your interests grow as well. You realize and you start understanding whether this field is for you or not. So the new decision brought in by the council where you can exit the degree after 3 years, I think is a nice decision for a lot of students who would realize by that point if they wish to continue further or not. But for a lot of people, I think even after completing those 5 years, you sometimes see your interest somewhere else. And I wanted to, with this talk and even with my YouTube channel, I try to look for fields where architects have dwelled in. So I can see, where all you can go, what all you can pursue, even after you've spent 5 years just studying architecture. So can you even pursue something else after architecture? Because architecture is a professional course. So professional courses are designed to make you, for that field. It's like if you study medicine, you study medicine. If you study law, it is about the law. If you study architecture, again, it's a professional course. You're studying architecture. But one amazing thing about architecture is it is such a collaborative field that while you're studying about architecture for the 5 years, you are actually studying a lot of things, a lot of subjects within architecture are subjects derived from other fields and other courses as well, because they eventually help you become an architect. But in learning those subjects, you also develop, let's say, a skill set for those different fields as well. So I think that is why architecture as a field gives you a lot of opportunity to explore a lot more subjects, a lot more topics, even after you graduate being an architect. So what this presentation will not cover. So first of all, I want to discuss what this presentation will not cover. So there are certain careers that you can pursue that I wouldn't call alternative. This is about defining what alternative would mean, because there are a lot of careers that are maybe a subset or maybe a specialization within the field of architecture. So the kind of things that I'm talking about right now is interior design, project management, town planner. These are all specializations. Interior design may be called a subset or a specialization. So these are all maybe subsets or specializations within architecture. Similarly, there's teaching, there's research, there's landscape architect. So again, all of these as careers would be maybe a subset or maybe a specialization. So I'm not discussing these. Let's come to alternative careers after architecture, and the careers that I define as alternative are careers that are different from the field of architecture. So the first career, so in this presentation, I'll be talking about 7 different careers that you can pursue after you've completed a degree in architecture. The very first career that I wanted to talk about is graphic designers. So let's come to first, what do graphic designers do? Graphic designers create visual concept using computer software or by hand to communicate ideas that inspire, inform, and captivate consumers. So basically, graphic designers build and create everything that you see visually. It may be something as small as apps. It may be, everything that is made on this box. It may be billboards. It may be websites. So you see, graphic designers are involved in everything, because in today's time, everything is designed. Everything is packaged in design. If the internal product is not designed, the packaging is always designed. The marketing of it is always designed. And that is where graphic designers come in, is where they create those visuals that would communicate that product to you. So how can architecture education help? So when studying architecture, you are already trained to look at compositions, at shapes, and even text. You obviously make compositions within your design, but you also present them on sheets. The creation of these sheets is your introduction to graphic design. I personally think that a lot of people after architecture, even while studying architecture, delve into graphic design and create graphics for other companies. It is because you are already used to doing that. So a lot of people either do it by hand or through softwares, which are both used during your architecture education as well. When you're creating your sheets for architecture, they are nothing but big pieces of graphic design, because you have to communicate your design to whoever. It may be a juror, it may be a friend, it may be a random person who would look at your sheets even when you are not present in front of them. So you have to create your sheets in such a way that when a person looks at your design, they not only understand your complete design, but they can understand all facets of it and look at it at one go. And that is your challenge when you're creating your sheets. And I think that challenge is what makes you a nice graphic designer. You understand what all you need to communicate, what all is important, and you put all of that into your sheets. So in that way, I think all architecture students in a way delve into graphic design and all other aspects of it. So let's come to the next, architectural photography. So within this presentation, even though I'm giving you an idea of what the careers can be, I'm not giving you a definite roadmap for them. This is something that I'm exploring on my YouTube channel as well. I'll talk about it at the end of the presentation. So first, let's just look at what all career opportunities are there. So next is architectural photography. Now, what do architectural photographers do? We've all heard of photographers. There are wedding photographers, there are travel photographers, there are event photographers, there are photographers for a lot of things. What is special about architectural photographers? So architectural photographers document spaces by capturing them through a lens. You click and edit pictures for a variety of clients. So basically, architectural photographers are people who work within the field of architecture, so documenting projects. Whenever you see any visuals of any project, if they're not renders, if they're renders, they're made by a 3D visualizer, but if they're not renders, they are clicked by an architectural photographer. Because as an architectural photographer, you are supposed to capture the essence of the building or the essence of that space. Now, how can architecture education help? As an architecture student, you already deal with compositions, spaces, views. As with any photography, architectural photography is also fundamentally about the right compositions. So obviously, this field is about photography. So ultimately, you will need to know your way around lenses, cameras, composing things. But the added benefit that you get studying architecture and being an architecture student is you already know how to visualize stuff, how to compose things within, if not in your frame, you know how to compose things in general. And that is why when it comes to a frame, you can use those same rules of composition that you've learned for your design and bring them into your composition of the photographs. There is so much within the field of architecture that is taught to you that you can just bring into the field of photography, because at the end of the day, they're both design. This is design of that frame. This is design of the whole structure. So as an architecture photographer, there's a lot of scope, and people who are already into photography, I think you have an added bonus, and it is an amazing career with a lot of opportunity to earn as well. You can start this career even when you are in your college, even when you are studying. You can start delving into it, or maybe doing things for free at that time, because your main motive is learning. And then as soon as you graduate, you can start earning from this profession as well. So architectural photography is another profession that is attracting a lot of people nowadays. Production design and art director. Now, a lot of students, even on my YouTube channel, ask me about, becoming an art director, becoming a set designer. So that is what I wanted to discuss today. Production design and art director. First, let's look at what do they do. So production designers and art directors are responsible for the visual concept of a film, television, or theater production. They identify a design style for sets, location, graphics, props, lighting, camera angles, and costumes, while working closely with the director and producer. For a lot of students that might be watching, and I think a lot of them might relate, if you've seen Game of Thrones, if you've seen Harry Potter, if you've even seen Bahubali, if you've seen these films, these are mega event films, right? The amount of effort that and there were real life architects working on these sets, because to create these magnificent locations, you need somebody who already knows spaces, who already knows the time and history that you're talking about, and bring it onto the set. So if you've not, I suggest you see, behind the scenes of Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Bahubali, or any movie that you really like, for especially its sets or for the background. Sanjay Leela Bhansali films, one of my favorite. I think all of his films really delve a lot into the backgrounds, into creating that royal look. So I think production designers and art directors, so basically they are responsible for all of that. They are responsible for bringing the whole place to life. They have to understand lights, they have to understand cameras, and that is something, as you do the profession, you understand it. You understand where and everything. The only difference is everything in architecture is about all users everywhere. But here it is about that camera angle, that one viewpoint that you want. It is all about that. So there have been times where, if the camera is here, the set is in this way. But if the camera and the second shot that you take would come from here, they will change the set from behind, so that there are certain parts that they do not want or they want to change. They bring it that. It is all about the camera angles. And that is basically what differs in architecture and production designing, is that architecture may be for whatever users you're creating it for, but production design is for that camera, is for that lens, and everything that you make is directed towards that lens. So how can architecture education help in becoming a production designer or an art director? So just like an architect is trained to design spaces, production designers have to do the same, keeping in mind the camera or the audience. So it's exactly what I said. So it is basically, so as you can see in this photograph itself, uh, it is about interior design. It is about creating that space. So if as an architect, when you're creating the space, you can see what you would do, what you would not do from these spaces. But now that you're looking at the camera, everything has to be made such that this camera angle is satisfied. And this camera angle might just be one of the camera angles. There might be another camera angle right in front of him. So now you have to look at both the camera angles, and all you're designing is within that frame. What is outside that frame doesn't matter. It is all about within that frame and capturing the perfect shot. And that is why a lot of times, when people click photographs, when people make videos, they are not like the reality. If people, even if they go to travel destinations and create stunning, beautiful videos, and you go there expecting that, but you realize that what they've done is shown you a little part of that. When you put it in a larger context, maybe the whole thing doesn't eventually look that beautiful. But as a production designer, again, what you have to do goes back to the frame. And but this is when I'm talking about when you're doing it for a film, when you're doing it for theater, when you're doing it for some other piece of production that is not caught on a camera or people will interact with it live. At that time, obviously, it becomes much more about, you have to look at all the aspects because people will be able to see everything. But again, even if it's theater, it is all about that, stage space, and that is it. Nothing beyond it, nothing about behind it. It's all about that space. So as a production designer, I think it is architecture, but to a limited space and enhanced to a much more degree. At a normal home, you would not want to make all of this, like what is ever in the photograph. But in the piece of design, I mean, in the piece of film or maybe theater, you want this so that people are captivated by it. Think about Sanjay Leela Bhansali films. I'm sure nobody kept their mahals or their castles, palaces like that each and every day, but they are like that in his films in every shot, because that is supposed to take you to another land. And that is what the job of a production designer is. Next up on our list is industrial and furniture designer. So let me first differentiate between the two. So obviously you can understand by furniture designer what it means. You design pieces of furniture. Industrial design is defined as the art or the process of designing manufactured products. So in this field, you deal with the design of the product, but also about the practicality and the economics involved when you take it to larger scale. So industrial design is basically any product or furniture designing taken to a much bigger scale. It is about manufacturing the product. As much as it is about designing the product, it is also about manufacturing the products. Now, personally, let's first talk about furniture design. I have seen a lot of architects, practicing architects, also delve into furniture design. Even Zaha Hadid, Frank Gehry for that matter, they all delve into furniture design. Think of it in this way. It is again a piece of design. Just like anything that you design, it is again a piece of design. But here you get to completely play with the form. Like in a chair, you just need to make sure that you are maintaining this and this. Like if you maintain this, but within this space, you have the ability to just go berserk. You can do anything. It is so much more, it can be function oriented, but it can be so much more form oriented. And that is why a lot of architects just like to do furniture design and go to furniture design festivals all over the world, follow furniture design pages on Facebook, Instagram, because just looking at these products, it just makes your mind, it opens up your mind to new ideas, new possibilities. Like this can also happen, this can also happen. Again, obviously that is limited to a single piece of furniture, but it opens up your mind to more things that you can do. Industrial design is not just about furniture, it can be about products, but it is about, as much as it is about designing, it is about the manufacturing process as well. You manage everything from start to end. So how can architecture education help? So it is in the name. Industrial design is first and foremost about designing. It is about understanding the user and the problem and creating a product that can work as a solution. So again, if you do furniture design, industrial design, fundamentally it is about design. It is the same principles that you use in architecture. It is about understanding what the user wants, understanding what the user needs, sometimes differentiating between the two, what he wants and what he needs, understanding aesthetics, understanding the cultural context, understanding everything involved, and then create a final product. And furniture design and industrial design is just the same, is doing just that. It's just that architecture is on a much bigger scale. There's much more money involved when architecture is being talked about, and people use architecture differently. For smaller products, obviously there's a lot of leeway, there's a lot of fancy things that you can do and it'll still look good. For a house, maybe you can't do that. So I think it can let you be much more creative, like furniture and manufactured design. But again, it is only one part of it is about design. Other part of it is understanding practicality, understanding the manufacturing process, which is there in every field. Like even in architecture, when you study architecture, you're studying more about the theoretical and conceptual stage of architecture. Once you graduate, you actually learn about everything else that is involved. So it is similar. You can use the resources that have been taught to you within the 5-year time frame and just apply them in this field. The rest of it you'll still have to learn within the field. Video game designer. I think this one would be something a lot of people might be interested in. People love playing video games right now, especially during the lockdown. I know all of my friends were on it. They were playing PUBG or they were playing something or the other and spending hours playing it. So what do video game designers do? Video game designers, especially who deal with the architecture, bring the world inside the game to life. They design how things and surroundings will look and interact with the players. Now, I know, and you might also know, video games and designing video games is much to do with software engineering and understanding the softwares or the script part of it more than the design part of it. But actually the design process of designing a game, it may just start by hand. It may just start, with you designing different things. So you design the different elements. So even if you do not know how to code, there are still video game designers who design just the different elements. They just design the look and feel of it. They might just do it in Rhino, and this part of the game will look like that. This part of the game will look like that. This part of the game will look like that. And then it would be the engineer's job to sort of integrate those together and bring it to life so that you can interact with all three of them in the same frame. That is the engineer's job. But a lot of it has to do with designing what is required within the game, designing everything that the player will interact with. For example, like if you look at this particular picture, so this is from a game called Assassin's Creed. So obviously the main player was this guy who's standing in front, but if you see behind him, and you can straight away tell this is a European city. If you look further, you can straight away tell that it is maybe a city in Italy, from what it looks like to me. I don't think that is Florence. The Florence Cathedral is similar. I don't think it looks like that though, but it is a city within, and only architects can point it out. I mean, obviously other city enthusiasts can also point it out, but having the keen eye, because this particular game was about the time period. Like when you play Assassin's Creed, it is about going back in time to that particular place. Now, when it becomes that specific, you need a person who already knows about this to design it. And that is where the architects come into place, is they're designing the surroundings that the player is going to interact with. So even though the video game designers are more programmers than architects, as an architect, you still have valuable information and research relating to the built environment and how it reacts with the users. You know how how buildings are made. You already know how people interact with these buildings, and these all inputs are required by architects when a game is being designed as well. All right. Let's go to 3D visualizer. I think a lot of people already know about this because a lot of students already delve into it while they're still students. Like they start earning because they've gotten good at softwares. So 3D visualizers create visuals and renders for a variety of clients. Talking about architecture especially, involves creating views and renders. So basically you take the design from whoever your client is. It might be just a thesis student who wants to get a design made, or it might be Bjarke Ingels, Frank Gehry, Zaha Hadid. Know that all of these firms have either specialized people who only work on 3D visualizing, or they source it out. They give it to somebody else, they give it to some other firm that does it for them. 3D visualizing is a really big and a vast field. All it requires is a lot of skill set, a lot of learning, a lot of hard work, dedication, patience. Obviously, it requires money as well, because you need to keep upgrading your system to keep in demand, keep your system updated so that it can do those renders in the correct time, do those renders with that much detail. Obviously, that all is required as well. But 3D visualizing, a lot of it has to do with your skill and you knowing how these materials, how this view would look amazing, how to put the light in this view. A lot of times when you look at the views and you look at the final product, they look nothing like that. I mean, I'm not saying that it's in a bad way, but the view is just so much more beautiful than the final product. And even by looking at the view, you know that it will somehow be like that, but it will not be the same. The sky will not be orange. The building will not have these amazing lights or these particular things going on, which do happen in the renders. But I think that is how it is. You have to make things look much more beautiful, and then people get attracted to it. Obviously, final products do matter, but as 3D visualizers, it is your job to make the whole, especially on screen, make the whole thing dance, make the whole thing come to life. How architecture education can help, as I said, this is one field where students earn incomes while still in college. Software, especially those dealing with 3D visualizations, are already explored while in architecture school. So students who want to pursue this field have a much easier path forward. Because you already delving into all of this, you know how it works. You know it requires a lot of effort. You know it requires a lot of understanding of a lot of things. But you know all of this. You know how it works. So if you really want to delve into it, I think it is a field that offers immense opportunities. It offers, and it also offers immense amount of income. If you're really good at it, you can really earn well. So a lot of students can opt for this after they finish their architecture. Architecture journalism. So what do architecture journalists do? So an architecture journalist aims to inform people about the world of architecture, and they may or may not offer insights, criticism, and opinions on the news that they deliver. It can be in any type of media. So a lot of times people assume architecture journalism is all about writing. It might not be so. Just like with any journalism, you can go into writing. Even photography is within a subset of journalism. You can go for videography. So a lot of people assume that what I do is also journalism. I would argue that it is not, because a lot of it is not just made so that people get aware about things. I make things so that they're not only informative, but they're also maybe comical or entertaining. So what I do is more about creating videos. It is more about creating information, creating shows that would not only give you information, but entertainment. Journalism is, it obviously can do that, but it is more about, creating the right context, understanding projects, informing people about things. So how can architecture education help? So even though this field is about journalism, it is still completely about architecture. Even though studying architecture is not a prerequisite for this field, even if you're not an architect, you can obviously be an architectural journalist. But once you study architecture, you truly have an edge in this field, especially if you love to research and analyze ideas, concepts, and facts. So if you really love to, research about things, find out about things, or inform people about different topics, about this building, about this particular event that is happening, I think you can really go into architecture journalism. And especially because you've already been studying architecture, it is much easier for you. You just have to apply all of that information onto analyzing the different buildings or the different things that you're talking about. All right, so let's come. These were the 7 careers that you could pursue after studying architecture. But how can you pursue these careers? Now, this is a question that I a lot of time get, because I made a similar video on my YouTube channel as well about different careers that you could pursue after architecture. And what I'm trying to do on my YouTube channel is trying to find people who from architecture have delved into all of these different careers, who have delved into photography, journalism, who have delved into video game designing, 3D visualizing. So I'm trying to find all of these people. I've already talked to Nakul Jain, architect Nakul Jain. He was a graduate from SPA. He graduated, I think, in 2012, if I'm not wrong. So he graduated and he was a double gold medalist in SPA. But he knew after exiting his college, he knew he wanted to pursue photography more. And then he got into architectural photography. And today he runs a very successful architectural photography business. So I had him on my channel, and that video is up on my YouTube channel as well. You can watch it if you want. So I'm still trying to find out how exactly, what is the path that different people use to pursue these careers. But even though those, you can get insights from those paths, if you want to pursue these careers, you will truly have to do your own research. You will have to find out how you can shift your field, because this is not something that a lot of people do. This is not something people after 5 years of architecture do not. A lot of people do, even if they want to do something else, hesitate to do it because you've already invested 5 years into learning and doing this course. So it takes a lot to sort of then switch fields. And if you already know nothing about that field, you'll have to learn from scratch. At least with my content creation, I was doing it while I was still in college. So I had a bit of idea what to do. And then there's a whole video on my YouTube channel about the whole process of how I transitioned from an architect to a content creator, what all happened. And it is quite a journey, you should watch it. But I think these are things that you can think about. And if you want to pursue these careers, you'll have to do your research, you'll have to contact people, but you'll, at least for now, you'll have to forge your path on your own. I've told you about the fields, but if you really, really want to enter these fields, I think a little bit of research and then you can do it on your own as well. So in conclusion, I would just like to say that even though architecture is designed as a very, very specialized professional course, it does give you the tools to delve into various other professions if you wish to. Like I said at the start of this video, even though this is a professional course, even though at the end of 5 years you're trained to be an architect above everything else, in this profession, I mean, in this course, you're taught so many things. You're taught about design, you're taught about management, you're taught about a lot of different aspects of architecture, and a lot of different aspects taken from other fields and then put together to build this field of architecture, because this field is all about collaboration. So because you've already studied a lot of things, I think you're personally equipped to do a lot of things. You have a lot of skills. You just have to sharpen those skills. You have already seen what each of these skills require, what each of these fields require. But if you really want to get into one of these fields, you will have to work hard. Obviously, that is there. But at least the course gives you an introduction to this field. And with that, I think I would conclude my presentation and open up the floor to any questions.
Thank you very much, Rishabh, for this very good session by you. So it was a really, you are one of the most awaited alumni for School of Architecture and Design, Manipal University, Jaipur. So yes, we have a lot of questions, and I would like to little bit sum up your presentation about a 5-year long, really long course where a person develop their interest and grow up to a mature thinker, right? So if I'm very right about it, yes. So it was about you talked about specializing oneself from architecture and relating it to various different professions. Extending from graphic designer, you talked about photography, you talked about wedding photography as well, but you much more told about us that is this thing, the
architectural photography.
Yeah, architectural photography. You told us about furniture designer, interior designer, then product designing or industrial designer. So then you told us, told the viewers about 3D visualizer. That is very important for person to understand that yes, this is also there, which generally people used to get acquainted with during their training programs.
Yeah, and even a lot of people, I think, even in their trainings are maybe they feel that all they're doing is designing 3Ds or all they're doing is maybe visualizing stuff. But I think it can become a career in itself. You making the 3Ds, you bringing those renders to life, because a lot of people just outsource it. So
Yes.
it is a career that people can full-fledged follow as well.
And then concluded with something like architectural journalism with a lot of with the picture of lot of books, and there is the main thrill that students get. Oh my god, I will be able to do that or not. But yes, you made it simpler for them. So, and then talking about the theoretical learning during the course, that's very important to for one to understand that you can use it as a resource. So that's, thank you very much. And actually you can people the attendees over here, they can understand that is very actually necessary to understand how it is. I will be switching the question answer session to Sunanda ma'am. Ma'am, this is to you.
Yes, thank you, Akshay, and thank you, Rishabh, for such a wonderful presentation. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
That is 1, 2, 3 very personal questions I would ask. Definitely, I am very much sure you joined architecture by your choice. It was not by force. But what pushed you to choose this profession of content, creative content writing after doing the architecture? What was the reason? Means why this shift happened? Was it all of a sudden, or it was planned, or what was the moment which triggered you to do so?
So I would not say it was planned, because I think from the get-go I wanted to pursue architecture and I wanted to go ahead in this field. I had made a video about this on YouTube as well. I had discussed everything, I mean, in detail there as well. And what had happened was, once I had come back from my internship, so at that time I knew, and because internship was our final semester, I knew that it wasn't that I didn't want to pursue architecture, but it was just I wanted to pursue this more. I wanted to create content, I wanted to create videos much more than I wanted to pursue architecture. I think that was the thing that was in my head. And one thing that when I was at my internship, so my boss had told me this thing, and she told it to me on the final day. We had a farewell in our office. Our bosses had taken, because a lot of interns were leaving that day, so our bosses had taken us out to dinner, the whole team, and on that dinner, everybody was saying things about each other. And then ma'am had finally told me that, Rishabh, you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of insight, you have a lot of maturity. The only thing is your energy is driven in a lot of places. You use that energy and you have spread it across different things. When I'm doing videos, when I'm doing architecture, when I'm doing something else. So I have spread, what she meant was, and she said this, if you focus that in all of that energy into one place, you can really go ahead. And I think she was referring me, to put it all into architecture. I think that is what she was referring to. But I really understood what she said about focusing all of that energy. And that is why when I wanted to shift my careers from architecture to content creation, I knew you also have to think about the economical aspect of a career. It is not just about I just want to do this, it is my interest, but you also need to understand that careers are also your sources of income. It is not just what you like to do. So I had given myself time of a year, and I had talked to my parents about this, that I will take 1 year off. And within that year, I will try and pursue this career of content creation. It all worked out at the end of the year, but I was very prepared. If it didn't work out, I would go back happily into the field of architecture, knowing that I gave my full shot to doing what I like to do. If it didn't work out, that's okay. But if it did, I could sort of put a career into that, and I think it has worked out since then.
Yes, yes, Rishabh. I think you have already explained this. All 5 years of your BR degree must have helped you in your this new venture, because you have already explained how the photography, how the graphics, everything is like the animation, everything which is part of our architecture studies, how this much have helped you in pursuing this more different kind of a profession. That that is all was there in your presentation. But can you share one thing? What was the most important, interesting part which you liked in the entire architecture studies?
I would say it is still my favorite subject till date. I still have all of my copies with me. It is what Swati ma'am had taught, which was human settlement and planning. I loved learning about cities, about how and understanding how people came up with these different models of an ideal city. Like even the first time I heard it, somebody's trying to create an ideal city. Forget a home, forget a building, they're creating a city. And a city is such a complex thing in itself. And then studying different cities, right from, we studied Brasilia, we studied Chandigarh, we studied newer age buildings, cities, we also studied really ancient cities. And I think till now, cities still fascinate me. They're one of my most interesting subjects.
So means when you started your profession, means one thing you said ki there has to be some practical aspect. It is not the only the fantasy or the liking ki I want to go to this profession. There are economical aspects which are attached to it. So what all challenges you faced to establish yourself? Means what are the challenges? It is not challenges from outside. There must be some challenges, they were within you. Means you must be struggling what profession I should choose, whether to go in for architecture or totally this thing, and definitely from the outside, like from your peer group or from your competitors. So what were the challenges which you exactly faced to establish yourself?
So in terms of challenges, I think once I had talked to my parents, and I had till I had not talked to my parents, I was still dicey about what to do, how to do it. And what had happened was just after my internship, I had got the opportunity to go to the Venice Biennale in Italy, which was in September of 2018, which was that very year. And so it was a 2-week workshop, and I had sort of won a sort of a competition, and they had called me there for that thing. So I had already talked to them that I will take time off till then. Like I'd just come back home and wait a little while. And even after I came back from my internship, they had sort of talked to me about a job. They had talked to me that, you know, you can come here and work, and they talked to me about all aspects of it. I had told them that I'm going to Italy for 2 weeks, and I mean, I had to rush back home at that time because my grandmother was unwell as well. And then I had told them that there will be that Italy thing. So they told me you can come and work for us after that. So I had that much time, but within that time, I had also talked to my parents, and I talked to them and said, you know, if I can just take this year, like till the May of 2019, and figure out if I can actually convert this, what I really like, into a career. Now, one thing was I love to make goals and focuses. So at that time, my focus was putting the YouTube channel in such a full swing that it starts making money, like enough money for me to call it a career. Obviously, that did not happen, and I got but a lot of my focus just went there. As far as challenges goes, after I talked to my parents were like, they were prepared. They were ready that he'll finish his year and then he'll either go and study masters or he'll go and do architecture. So till that time, they were like, fine, do whatever you want to. From peer group, I think they were really, a lot of my friends were really supportive and excited for me because they knew I was very passionate about what I wanted to do. So I think there wasn't much of a pressure or anything coming from their side, or me thinking about they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, and I'm just still trying to figure out. So I think there was none of that. But the challenge was just trying to make it financially viable. For that year, I think that was the main challenge. That even though and not just this, I had started making videos for brands, for some clothing company, for an interior showroom. So I'd start creating videos and at least, if nothing else, get better at what I do. I mean, that is how it would grow into a full career as well. You have to still get better at what you do. So you have to learn each day. So I think a lot of my time just went into that. but the pressure was just making it financially viable, which came at the end of the year. And it was literally 20 days before my final deadline is when I got the job at Trip Machine. So I think that was the only main thing in my head at that time.
Thank you so much, Rishabh. It was nice interacting with you and listening to you. Means over to Akshay for the next set of.
Thank you very much for this question answer session. I believe everyone got benefited with this. We have Professor Dr. Madhura Yadav. She wants to speak a little bit about his about talk and wants to have some question with Rishabh as well. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Rishabh, for such a wonderful presentation, and you have proved that through your presentation how architecture is a potent form of visual art, right? And I was remembering your video YouTube channel that you prepared one video regarding the architects without architecture degree.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah. So there are many. And today's session, you have rightly touched upon the issues. What are the alternative careers? And I think it will be helpful for all the students in the country. And as you said in your presentation also, that after 3 years now, Council of Architecture is also thinking of exit option. And if it is for 5 years, then you can take integrated degree. That is still going on. That is not finalized till date.
Yeah. But
it is a good option because we as a teachers also, we face the problems many times that yes, a batch of 40 students or n number of students are there and we teach in a particular way, but the students are different and they are interested in different topics or different subjects. And then ultimately after graduating also, they are interested in different careers. And you rightly said that I can see your journey throughout your 5 years in the school. I still remember your video of Chandigarh, which you made, and I was very impressive. And after that, I called that you should prepare such more videos. And still you can think, Rishabh, because that was a very good video. And now on this online mode, we are teaching online. So you can prepare such contents in which you are interested. And that will be helpful for all the students throughout the country. You remember your video on Chandigarh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it was very nice. And I can see that spark in you. Along with this, your Blaze Stars YouTube channel, you should start of the subjects of architecture in which your liking is there. As you said that you like human settlement planning, and there is a lot of scope to prepare videos in this subject also. Because if we look at the Garden City concept by Howard, it is a concept 1898 and 100 years have passed. So we should again revisit that concept in today's context. So can you do such kind of videos in Indian context and put it on your channel so that all the students of architecture and planning and design can be benefited from this? And yes, you have rightly touched upon the careers like photography, 3D visualizer, game designing. Then I think you have touched upon the AR, VR also, the role of AR, VR in architecture. And you should also think about preparing such videos for other design students also. That will be really helpful. So keep preparing such videos, and thank you so much. And we are proud of you as alumni of SND. And this is your school. You are welcome at any time for any, if you feel like you want to conduct a seminar or workshop. I still remember your seminar of origami. And then we requested you to conduct a workshop for third year architecture. That was also very nice. So the school is yours. You are welcome to school at any time. Thank you so much for such a wonderful presentation.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, everyone. I would like to express my vote of thanks to everyone. Thank you very much, Professor Sunanda ma'am and Rishabh, for this interactive session and informative question answer session that I believe would have actually helped all architecture and design aspirants. And I would like to thank Professor Dr. Madhura Yadav, Director, School of Architecture and Design, for gracing the session and giving the welcome address and summing up the session. Thank you, Architect Rishabh Wadhwa. You are architect first, then I believe you are the second thing afterwards. You are a proud alumnus to School of Architecture and Design, Manipal University, Jaipur, for sharing your wonderful experience and journey inside and outside the campus. At last, I would like to thank all the architecture and design aspirants and all other dignitaries to be the part of this session, Alumni Talk with Architect Rishabh Wadhwa. Thank you very much. Take care. See you. Bye-bye. Signing off.